Hi, welcome back to Cheesy Thumbprints. In today's episode, I'd like to take a look at 5 different DVD, box sets, TV shows, movies that have really, basically, they're 5 sets that I think I probably would never part with unless you offered me $1 million. And the reason is there's a nostalgic connection to each one. And I'm sure you have those collections as well. You remember maybe the time you actually purchased it, what was happening in your life, and perhaps and hopefully good memories you had during that time, and sharing those movies and those TV shows. So today's episode is just about that. We're going to look at 5 and possibly a bonus one. And I will tell you, this is just a video to chill to. If you're interested in, keep watching. If you're not, please don't. It doesn't help the algorithm. And this is just a chill episode, and I'm going to cover and show you my box sets that I have, and maybe open a few and take a look at the disc, that kind of thing, and just a very brief, hopefully very brief story on each one. I'm going to start with a cheapie pack. I think I bought this at Walmart. And it was probably back in the 90s, I'm guessing, late 90s. Yeah, I believe so, mid to late 90s, because I remember where I was living when we bought this. And my wife, our family was still young, and we had 3 kids. And one of the things I sort of started taking an interest in, and I don't know how I came across it, because we really didn't have YouTube or the internet back then. So, yeah, I'm not sure what piqued my interest. But I started to think, I know that people in my family had been interested in this sort of thing, but it's the film noir category. So I picked up this set of 18 movies. It's all about film noir. These are basically the public domain ones, so that's why the box set was low cost. And believe it or not, the product says it was made in the USA. And there's a lot of good movies on here. And what I remember about this is it was a good time for my wife and I, and our kids were young. And when they were off to bed, I remember that we would look forward to indulging in a new film noir episode. And actually, this was, I would say, the beginning. This was the very start of our interest in that, when we did later on start to collect and watch a lot of other film noir, like out from Fox or different distributors that put out specialized packages. So I do have some of those. But this is where it all began, my interest in film noir. Now, this whole episode today is not going to be about film noir. It's all about, they're all different things. And I think I may even call this part 1, because if you're like me, there's probably a lot of movies that resonate with you nostalgically, and that you keep them close to your heart. So in this package, it was put out by St. Clair Vision, I believe so. And there are 6 discs. I'll show you what a typical disc looks like this. When they were new, I'm not sure if it was like a cheap plastic that the manufacturer used, but it had this, and you can still faintly smell it. It was very strong at the beginning of the off-gassing of. Now, I actually have, if you see in the background, I actually have the screen up, the menu screen for this particular disc. This one, and you see you get a lot of pretty good ones. I mean, you can get these mostly at the Internet Archive online. You can download them for free. But at the time, it was something special for us to have a very physical collection, physical media collection of our favorite, what would soon be some of our favorite film noir. Like this one has The Strange Loves of Martha Ivers, and The Hitchhiker, and Quicksand. And at this point, I probably should have my glasses. And so we won't go into a lot of detail about this, because this will make this movie really, really long. There's Barbara Stanwyck, and I basically fell in love with Barbara Stanwyck. Kirk Douglas, another big actor name. And in The Hitchhiker, for example, I was going to show you, I had a little picture frame here. Ida Lupino is in this particular episode of The Hitchhiker. And she was, if you remember, one of the very, if not the only, one of the very first female directors of this time period. So this came out in 1953. Quicksand, that's I've seen that episode many times, that movie. And of course, Mickey Rooney, a younger Mickey Rooney, not child, but a younger Mickey Rooney acts in that one. So yes, as you can see, this is what's in the pack. I'm not sure if you could get it on eBay anymore and how much it would cost. But off the back, it will show you, for example, the different movies that are available in this collection. But really, I wouldn't spend a lot of money on it. The discs still seem to work, even though it's been that long. But, to be able to get these things for free on YouTube, I suppose, unless you really want to, you could. There may be some releases. Some of these may be coming out on 4K soon. I don't know. I haven't seen that. Don't think I have. But Volume 1 has Too Late for Tears, The Man Who Cheated Himself, and The Stranger. Volume 2 is The Strange Love of Martha Ivers, The Hitchhiker, and Quicksand. Volume 3 is Detour. And Detour is a pretty cool one. The Scar and DOA, Dead on Arrival. That is one of my favorites. That's Volume 3. That's great. Yeah, Volume 3. And of course, yeah, it doesn't. What's the name of that actor in DOA? Oh, I can see his face and I can't remember. They give his show name here is Frank Bigelow, but I can't remember. I can see him. Edmonds. I can't remember. All right, maybe you guys too can and want to jot it down there. So yeah, instead of going through them all, Detour, The Scar, DOA, Jigsaw, Whistle Stop. That's a good one. That Whistle Stop has Ava Gardner in it. He Walked by Night. And Volume 5 is The Chase, The Big Bluff, and Kansas City Confidential. If you remember Kansas City Confidential, I remember, our bad guy actor, Jack Elam. He had the kind of the squint and the big eye or whatever, and he did a lot of bad guy characters in westerns back in the day. He was a pretty cool actor. I actually, to be honest, I just read that he actually lost his eyesight in a fight when he was younger, damaged his eye, and that's why he has that kind of look. So it really aided him in early Hollywood, I suppose, to get lots of jobs as a tough guy. Volume 6 is The Port of New York, Suddenly, and then the last one is, we know Suddenly, right? I think I even bought that on a separate DVD by, I think it was Image years ago. I haven't watched it in a while. And I imagine that's soon going to come out. I mean, if they can get the rights to it on Blu-ray, UHD or something, and maybe it is. That's the one where Frank Sinatra plays in it. And it's all about a place where there's a train stops and they're going to, I hope I'm not giving too much details here, but there's going to be an assassination attempt on the president. A really good show, and it is public domain. You can look it up. It's out there everywhere. But physically speaking, again, this was, when I see this package, it takes me back to those days. Okay, a cheapy package to start with, but that is number one of my very first collections that has a nostalgic meaning for me. A little addendum to the first collection of discs by the Film Noir. I did like the fact that they are in slim cases. Slim cases are very convenient because it seems to hold the disc in a little better. Now, maybe it's not as good for longevity. I'm not sure. Like if there's off-gassing and the greasy oils come out of the plastic itself onto the disc. I'm not sure, but I do like the slim cases because they save room. They also the discs don't seem to fall out of their case, out of their spot so much. All right, my number 2 small collection. It's not even really a box set, but my number 2 one that kind of takes me back to some more good times and evenings watching this movies with my wife is the Inner Sanctum Mysteries with Lon Chaney Jr. He's in most of them, I think, if I recall, or quite a few. that along with the Val Lewton collection, they go together very great. I don't have the Val Lewton collection with me right here to show you. I think that may be on another episode. But the Inner Sanctum Mysteries, very cool. And back in, mostly done in the 40s, I believe. Yes, 1943, 44, 44, 45, and 45, and 45. And the movies on here that you get are Calling Dr. Death and Weird Woman, Dead Man's Eyes, which is one of the movies that I really tend to remember a lot. I think it's the one where he's an artist. Yeah, he's an artist, and I won't say any more, but something happens, and yeah, it's quite a movie. These are all actually very good. The Frozen Ghost, Strange Confessions, and Pillow of Death. And I'm not sure if Lon Chaney Jr. is in all of them or not, but one of the cool openers is you see a crystal ball at the beginning of Inner Sanctum Mysteries. And Inner Sanctum Mysteries, to my understanding, that was a radio show back in the day, and like before these movies came out, and then some of the stories, and that whole ambiance that came with that show, that radio show, was put into film. And an awesome job at it. I mean, I love the film. I haven't really listened to and I don't think it's included in here, any of the original, but this is the complete movie collection. And I do see that it's available on Blu-ray, I believe, but still really pricey for me. It's either, don't quote me, it's either Criterion or Arrow or somebody like that has it on. Maybe I can correct it when I see the video and let you know. So it's a really cool packaging, as you can see. I love it. These are just the sticker that was on this one. I believe I actually got this for $9.99 out of some bin somewhere back in the day. 6 movie collection. And I'm going to show you the inside of this one. Okay, it has a kind of a slip cover on it, which is great. I've had it for years. Probably bought it back in the early 90s or whatever. There you can see Lon Chaney Jr., and I'm not sure who that is on there on the side. Darkness, Death, and Dementia. Of course, Dementia. And beautiful disc inside. Very much like the same, I'm not sure if it was by the same company or not. This is what, Universal, isn't it? Not sure. Should say right on a disc. Yeah, Universal. And that disc's upside down, but you can kind of see, let's take a look at it here. You can see it's still in pretty good shape, and it's painted. It's a painted disc, so it has that right on there. But I haven't had trouble with it so far, and I've had it all these years, and I don't have any special humidity controller. But beautiful artwork inside. Oh man, it just really takes you back to the time period. So this is number 2 for me of a nostalgic collection, and I'm really excited for some other ones coming up too that I want to show you. Okay, let's see what number 3 is going to be. Oh, if you do see this anywhere, you see it anywhere laying in a bin. I think I was lucky enough to actually get this for, I think it was $9.99. I know I probably said that just a second ago. And this is what the back cover looks like. PG. I tend to keep this plastic. I'm assuming it's archival, the plastic. I've mentioned this in other videos. I tend to keep it because it's just that added little extra protection, I think. Okay, that's number 2. Number 3, for a classic box set that brings back a lot of nostalgic memories for me, and maybe they do for you, because this was quite a series back in the day, especially when we just had 2 TV stations and not much to watch. As you can see in this menu screen behind me, you probably guessed that it's Space 1999. Now, this story is sort of a generational story, because when it came out in the 70s, as I said, all we had was maybe some Star Trek reruns that were happening, which is great, for example. But we also had, I remember it would come on our Canadian Broadcasting Corporation, the CBC, and on the weekends, and I think it was for us, at least at first, when I was when I was a teenager, and my brother and I lived at home, of course, and yeah, we had a pretty good home life, and so my parents would help us encourage our interests. And then when one of the things that we really loved or I especially loved. I mean, my brother had other more favorite episodes, our favorite genre, but I really liked Space 1999. The one I have open right now, as you can see, is a box set, which I'm going to tell you a bit more about. But what I remember is we used to make it special. And I'm just going to get a little drink of coffee here. Excuse me for a sec. Yeah. And so what was special about it was that Mom made pizza that night, and she made a darn fine good pizza. So that helped with the celebration of it, and it was kind of new, and it was something that, you know, when you saw the commercials of the eagle flying and the moon, you're like, wow, that's really something. So as when I grew up, I eventually, after different jobs and some education, I got some education, I ended up being in working in a CD DVD store back for almost 8 years. And so what happened was, the timeliness of it was that these box sets first started coming out. Now there are a total of 8, and I can show you the different colors. I can show you some. I got them all right here. Yes, still with some of the plastic on them. I'm not going to read off all the episodes. And as you can see, I still have the price stickers. I mean, they were pricey back in the day. This is $44.99. So what happened was, by the time this came out, I think it was the 90s, early 2000s, I had a family of my own with 3 kids. So I decided that I could afford with my budget, as each box set came out, I did get a discount. Thank God for working at a CD DVD store. So I could get these at cost. So it didn't cost me exactly $44. It was probably $10 cheaper at least, which is still, I wasn't making a lot of money, but, in raising a family. But we saw it as part of our entertainment. This one is set 6, so it must be into the 2nd season. Yeah, you can tell by the uniforms there. I have a lot of favorite episodes from both series, both seasons, Series 1 and Series 2. I like them both for what they are. Some say the first series is much more scientific and heady and intellectual, and more on that sort of 2001, coming off that 2001 Space Odyssey, coming off of that popularity and interest. Whereas when Fred Freiberger, I think his name is, from Star Trek, took over Series 2, he made it a little bit more like character driven and fun, like that kind of thing, and introduced monsters, and a lot of people didn't like that, and it did seem to be a lot more cheesy, but they were good. And we even I don't know if I can find a picture. I know I've got a picture somewhere, but when we did the very final episode as a family, we decided to actually make it a party. So we printed off some pictures that we had on our home computer printer and hung them around. And the kids kind of loved it. I think to this day, they kind of groan when they hear Space 1999. They think, I don't know, maybe it was child abuse. I don't know. But they seemed to enjoy it, and there was always food with it. So they liked it, So in the very last episode, we actually, as a family, got together. My wife's a great baker, and she baked a cake, and we made it look like the moon's surface, like the alpha moon base. So lots of fun. So this pack, even though I do have Series 1 on Blu-ray, and I'm very hoping to get for Christmas the entire collection. Yes, I know I'm nuts. I got it on DVD, but I want the enhanced and restored version that's out now. I'm not sure if it's the Shout Factory one or because I live in North America, so I think it's Shout Factory. I think the other one, the orange packaging, can't remember what that out because I don't buy from them that much. But I think they're more for region B and 2, and and for players. So I do love these, and even though, like I said, Blu-ray takes up a lot of less room, there's a history to it. So each one is a part of my life and my family life. And as each one came out, I would set aside the money to be able to buy part of the collection. We'll just take a look at maybe just one from inside, and you can see the menu, as I said, back there. They fit two DVD cases to a collection, and kind of a neat design on the back, how they do it. The disc I chose that's in there on the menu right now is one of my favorites. It does have on it Journey to Where. Some people think that's a little cheesy and not up to par with the first season special storyline and intellectual, but I like it because I play it. It's really based around New Year's Day, and if you ever watch a short story and you knew about it, Journey to Where is quite a cool story about where they go back in time and they figure out that it's New Year's Day and they find a way to get back. Yeah, it's you know, suspension of disbelief really comes in handy here, but it's quite a story, and I sort of try to play it annually on January 1st as part of my own personal nostalgic thing I like to do. It's every day. So kids, if you're watching this, and I'm in the old folks' home, if I'm that lucky, make sure I get to see it every January 1st, okay? All right. Okay, let's take a look at the next set. Number 4 box set is really quite special. I had mentioned in the number 3 that I had worked at a DVD, CD, music store, whatever you want to call it. And so there was this collection that was on the shelf for a long time, and it was close to the final time before the store closed. And we had this in stock, and I couldn't really justify paying the price for it. But fortunately and unfortunately, the whole chain that I worked in was shut down. As you know, a lot of physical media stores did close. And this was 2011, and I had been working there for 7.5 years plus. And this was on the shelf, and I really wanted it. And I love Alfred Hitchcock, and I wanted this as just that, a kind of a memento of my time at the store as it closed. You may have seen this before. I think it's it's the Masterpiece Collection, and that's sat there, and it has this velvet cover. You can probably see the texture there. It's a little hard to keep clean on the top because you have to use a brush to clean it, unless you cover it with something. I still have this cover, this slip cover that goes on it. I don't think you'd call it a J card. I'm not sure what you would call that, but I'm going to take that off so you can see what it's like inside. And I have been, for the most part, an Alfred Hitchcock fan, mostly of his earlier movies, like even up to Psycho. But some of the ones in the 70s, I like them, but I guess it's not quite the same. Maybe you can see the whole transition, I guess, in time. Yeah, this little slip cover, just why I kept it, I don't know. It's just part of the package. It has on the back, actually, this advertisement. And I'll tell you what's in the collection in case you see it. It's it's just beautiful inside. I can't wait to show it to you. Okay, so you have this silver sort of inlaid, outline that you saw with, I think it's probably the same as Alfred Hitchcock Presents, or it's at least based on that. You see the universal emblem there. Now it has this little door, so I open this so it doesn't fall open. It's just a little ribbon that comes out, and you open it. And each disc is in there like that. I believe there's also a little booklet in there. But I'm going to take out one or two and let you know. I can't stress the beauty of the art that's inside. The discs themselves are beautiful. They're painted, and there is a collector's book inside as well. And you can tell by that just how classy that is, how rich darks there are in that. And The Man Who Knew Too Much there. I mean, I've hardly had this booklet open. You can see it's still The Birds. Yeah, that's one of my favorite ones. So if you do see this somewhere and it's in a yard sale, just kind of Frenzy. Frenzy wasn't, like I said, it's a later one. It's not one of my favorites, but maybe if I revisit it again, I'll like it more. There's an introduction. So if you do see this in someone's yard sale or something, kind of take a look and make sure this little booklet's in here and didn't get lost. That being said, I wouldn't not buy it for a good price, that's for sure. So here you have one of the disc this collection. I'm not sure what you call it. I'm going to try to open this up. They put 4 discs inside. I won't bother to take them out to see the beautiful art that you can see that's in behind there. Yeah, these are painted black with the caricature of Alfred Hitchcock, the profile, stylized outline, and beautiful, beautiful discs. Maybe I should have, and you could see the artwork right underneath there. It's fantastic, beautiful stuff. You can get other collections, I know now, on Blu-ray. I can't recall, but I don't think I have any collections of Blu-ray. You have, I'm going to bring these all out. They just slide in there. There's a plastic, it has like a plastic little insert inside the case, and all these fit inside. You can see an original poster art on the outside that looks like Shirley MacLaine there, probably kissing Jack Lemmon. I think that's the thing about Harry. That's a good one too. Very interesting. And we have, what's it say Paul Newman there for? Julie Andrews. Oh, I'm going to say that's the actors, the cast that are in the Torn Curtain, of course. That's Marnie above there, I think, and Marnie had Sean Connery and Sean Connery. Who was that now? I knew they didn't quite get along. I think Sean Connery and her didn't quite get along in the making of the movie, but sometimes that works out and makes for a better episode. So what you get in that collection, if you ever see it, is you do get Frenzy and The Family Plot, more recent ones, so to speak. Saboteur, Shadow of a Doubt. Now, that's a great movie. That's got Joseph Cotten, I believe, and Rope with Jimmy Stewart, and also Rear Window is Jimmy Stewart too, isn't it? Yes, it is. He's the photographer. And then there's The Trouble with Harry, as I mentioned, The Man Who Knew Too Much. I wonder if that is the one. There was a couple versions of that, but I don't have my glasses on right now. Vertigo, of course, that's another good one with Jimmy Stewart. Psycho, that's a classic. That's actually what I have in there. I know it's kind of bleached out. You can't see it. The Birds, Marnie, Torn Curtain, and Topaz. And just so you can take a look inside, this is what I mean by, you see these little rails here. Each DVD collection can go in and slide in there and stay in rails. So there you have it. That is my number 4 collection that I would not part with, because I have fond memories of that job. It was one of the best jobs I ever had. Yeah. And so that's my memento from having worked there. Okay. Stay tuned for number 5. Number 5 of my all-time favorite DVD box sets, whatever you want to call it, TV shows that I do own on a box set, is the Canadian Femme, Nikita. Yes, based on Luc Besson's work. This is one of the best shows that you will ever find. I am biased because I love the show, and the nostalgic element is very similar to the Space 1999. A couple years later, this began to come out on. I didn't see it on television. I don't know how I missed it. The show. I would have loved it. And then it started to come out on DVD, and somehow the guys joke with me. They always joked with me at the store. They thought, well, it's from the cover art that I was interested in the show, but that wasn't really it. Somehow I happened to see one show, and I was blown away by it. And as you follow the development, the evolution of the characters, it's sort of it has great little stories, most of them, and it's a spy thriller. Are you familiar with the is it Nikita or La Femme Nikita, the very original movie? I forget who starred in that. Well, the very first episode of La Femme Nikita is based somewhat on the movie. Maybe it's even the first 2. Don't remember. But I've seen these shows many, many times, and I did end up sharing them with each of my kids as they got old enough. I thought, and they were in their teens, they were old enough to to be able to watch it and enjoy it. And they still like the show. Now, the box sets themselves, what happened? Same idea as they came in. I got them at a discount. Loved working at a DVD store. They put out the series, there was a total of 5 seasons. The 5th season was abbreviated, and which is good. Don't you hate it when one of your favorite series just gets pulled and you don't get to see it, you don't have any closure, right? So as you can see here, still with the plastic on it, that's me. That's what I do. So this is the 5th season. As you can see, it's a smaller and in a slim case like this. The drawback with these ones is that the design they're put out by Warner Brothers, and it was during that time, as you're probably aware, of the disc rot era, which can happen to any disc at any time. It can even happen to Blu-rays, believe it or not. But discs are noted for having some poor quality quality, what do you call it, overlook or whatever, I can't think of the word, that we don't, that kind of let them get through, and, with the possibility that they could have this disc rot sooner. So yeah, it's put out by Warner Brothers. The case is like this. The cover is the spine is glued to the little trays, and over the years, it's just going to happen, even whether you like it or not. The glue starts to come such that the actual tray itself will no longer. So yeah, it's not really great, but they were trying to fit a disc. They were trying to fit on either side, and each book comes each collection, each box set comes with its own little book based on sort of a special mission operative file folder, and inside you can see the cast of characters. We still have Peter Wilson is still with us, and I believe Robert Eugene Glazer is still, he's getting up there, but he's still with us, and the same as of this taping, and Roy Dupuis, and also I forget his name, Matt something. But we have since lost both Alberta Watson, who played Madeline, and the guy who played Walter. Okay, can't think of it right now. Burkoff with Matthew Ferguson. Don Franks. Yeah, Don Franks had quite an illustrious career, and he plays a great armory keeper, technician. He's the guy that builds the bombs and stuff. I just loved his character. I love the interplay between him and Nikita, played by Peter Wilson. The show, it's not something today that maybe you could politically correctly get away with. So it is kind of refreshing to see it, and when both parties understand what the humor is about, what it's not about, it is funny and it's cool. But it does develop the story between Michael, the main character, and Nikita. Michael is her overseer, or the person that trains her, main trainer and mission operative person that looks out for her. And we see their relationship develop over the years. And it's filmed in Canada. I think a lot of times, there's Toronto, Montreal, and even one scene that involved a harbor scene in a boat was done in Halifax, which is in the same province which I live in, Halifax, Nova Scotia. So wow, and it was the tech, for back in the day, it was pretty good quality, like for explosions and that kind of thing. It was pretty good. You can see it today, and you can see some faults in it. So yeah, I would buy these one at a time and bring them home and watch them, and then I'd get the next set and I'd have it reserved for me, and got them at a discount, so that was great. And when it came time that the store almost, it closed. It actually closed by that time. And you know what happens when time goes by? Because I bought them earlier on. Well, a few years had gone by, I think a few years. And so they came up with a reissue of a case. And the reissue is, as you can see, I have them. I'll tell you how I did it. These are a little different. They don't have that leaf inside. They just fold open like that. They still have the same little manual, and they just lay in there like that. And what happened was these all came out for, oh yeah, on a sale for 2 for $30, which meant I could even get them cheaper than that, I believe. So I ended up the last few days, the last few weeks of the store, and the cost went down, and I hummed and hawed, and as crazy as it sounds, I went and rebought the entire collection. And I really think, if I remember correctly, I got each box set for $5 Canadian. Isn't that cool? I mean, I was able to do that. And so there's some that still have the plastic on them. I haven't even opened them up yet. And that was 2011, and this is 2025. So the spring of 2011. So there they are. Some of them aren't open. And what my thinking is that for $5 a piece plus tax, I would have a backup copy of my original collection. As you can see, it's kind of falling apart, but that's just the way they do. They did come in the first season came in a kind of a slip cover, and the next I guess they did too. This is the original one. I guess they all had this sort of slip cover type thing. And yeah, so I got a lot of good memories with that. Mention down below if you guys just, if there's something that really resonates with you or something you'd like to share too. Okay, that's number 5, and that's the final, but I'm going to add a bonus one. Just hold on. I'm just going to give you a quick little one. I know the video's been long, but I hope I've held your attention long enough and you've enjoyed this nostalgic journey. And I really would like to hear what your stories are. And, have you had any great finds at yard sales or anything? Okay, very quick one coming up, which I think is going to be a box set I'm not going to want to part with. And it's not something I've seen or not so nostalgic, but it's going to become part of my nostalgia. And I'm going to make that number 6, a bonus one. Okay, that's up next. A bonus box set that's nostalgic, I think is going to enter into that nostalgic realm for me, is one my wife and I are watching. And I never saw it when it first came out. It is kind of great going back and seeing old shows that you missed. And it kind of takes you back to the time period, at least. It's interesting as whether it's just the camera work, the level of the abilities of the animators at the time. It does take you back to watch things that are made back when you were younger. And this one is becoming one of my favorite little fun shows to watch. The acting is really pretty good, and the stories aren't bad either. And it's called The Lost World. I think how I was introduced to it is I actually saw it probably on Tubi and started watching it, and then I showed my wife a couple episodes. She said, "Hey, I kind of like that." So it's a really cool. It's about a cast of characters. The show is they get lost on a sort of a plateau. It's in that genre of adventure back in the day, like Jules Verne kind of thing, where they go and they find some remote place, like the same whole concept like that movie The Land Unknown, where the helicopter lands in a sort of a prehistoric era that still exists somewhere on Earth. And that's a good movie, by the way, and I'm going to do a review of that because I think I have that on Blu-ray. But anyway, this is my bonus one for nostalgia that I think is going to be. It is put out by Film Chest. It is not like highly restored. I think it's just 2.0 mono. It's very basic, very simple. As you can see, very simple disc and artwork. And I think even some of the artwork is a little off on the front cover. It has a tray with a little door there, so you get some more in there. And anyways, it's been really fun to watch, and I think it's going to be a part of my future nostalgic collection. It comes with 3 little collections of, how many discs are in this? Sure. I think it was a 2 season. It's 12 discs, 12 DVDs, and 66 episodes. It was either 2 or 3. It was 3 seasons, actually. It's filmed in Australia, I believe. And it does have one Canadian in there. It's Dr. Summerly, Professor Summerly, and he is and the elderly man in the first season. And he's a Canadian, actually, or he was. He's no longer with us either. But yeah, this is it from Film Chest. You can get it quite cheap off Amazon. The animation back then of the dinosaurs was, it's not a Jurassic Park style quality. They didn't have that then. And the discs themselves, this is just your basic almost 720 level of resolution. I'm not saying it's that, but that's kind of what it feels like when you stick it in and watch it. So that's a great one too. So there we have it. Those are, and for part one, these are 5 of my favorite nostalgic box set collections. First one was the film Noir, then the Inner Sanctum Mysteries, and then Space 1999, Alfred Hitchcock's Masterpiece Collection, and Femme, Nikita. And the bonus one, The Lost World. Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's Lost World, if you want to look it up on IMDb. That's it for now, guys, and thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this trip down memory lane. And I can't look. I'm really excited to see what your comments are, and just briefly share a favorite one you had. All right, we'll see you in the next one, and like I always like to say, we'll see you in the movies.